Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to see. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at the back? I'm very happy to see so many of you today here because it's a special occasion today. We have a special guest, Dr. Semir Osmanagić, who gladly accepted my invitation to talk to the students and teachers at Tomas Bata University in Zlin. Another piece of good news is that he was just officially welcomed by our university representatives, and I'm very happy about that. Dr. Semir Osmanagić is well known for being the discoverer of the Bosnian Valley of Pyramids, and his discoveries are literally changing the history. It is changing all that we knew about the past, or all that we thought we know about the past. And very probably in a few years or maybe decades, we will also see the results of his research in the textbooks. But before that, we have a great chance to listen to some of the outcomes of his research from him in person. Today, he will be speaking to you a little bit about Bosnian pyramids also, because this is something which probably also interests you. But primarily, the lecture will be about European prehistoric sites. We will have a look into British Isles and some of the sites that you can see there. And Dr. Osmanagić will explain to you why it is actually important to visit some of these places or be interested in these places, and how we can connect with some of the knowledge and wisdom of the past which we might have lost during the thousands of years, and how actually it can contribute to your knowledge which you can use in your daily life. I'm very happy that I can see a lot of teachers here also, and I hope that you will also stay for the open discussion which will follow the lecture. Yeah, the lecture will last until 12 o'clock, and at 12 o'clock you will have a chance to ask any questions, yeah, based on what you hear in the lecture or whatever you heard before maybe, okay? So it's my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Semir Osmanagić. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniela, where is the guy with the hat? I'm happy to talk to you today. Most of you are listening to Daniela during the British studies. So how old is the English language? How long people have been inhabited the British Isles? How old are our species, Homo sapiens sapiens? According to the most scientists, it's about 200,000 years. They said we started in Africa, and 60,000 years ago we moved to different countries, Europe and Asian countries. Interesting thing is that we are the only Homo species living today. Besides us, until 30,000 years ago, there were Neanderthals. Today we are the only one. And according to a lot of research, it seems that we are a product of genetical engineering that happened 200,000 years ago. But that's not the topic of our lecture. According to the new science called anthropological genetics, the first wave to Europe came 60,000 years ago. That was the view from 1990s. And then they changed that in the last 10 years. They are saying about 35,000 years ago, the first cultural oases in Europe were the Basques in Spain and southern France. But now they are reducing that after National Geographic and Oxford took charge in anthropological genetics. They're saying it's about 35,000. The Balkan, about 25,000. Originally 38,000. And they're going to reduce that furthermore in the years to come. They will try to tell us that we've been around here only for 12,000 years. I mention that because I'll be talking about a lot of megalithic sites, so I'm giving you a context. The most famous megalithic site in Europe is called Stonehenge in southern England. Until 20 years ago, there was a view that it was about 3,000 years old. Then 4,000, 4,500. Today, officially, they are saying about 5,000 years old. They don't give their builders, because the conventional science, archaeologists, geologists, historians, they don't know who were the builders, when it really happened, how and why. This is a possible look of the original Stonehenge, 8,000 years ago. Originally, we had 30 upright stones, big stones, megaliths. Mega, Greek, big, lithos, stone, big stones, erected. 30 stones laid vertically and 30 stones laid horizontally. 30 plus 30, 60 megaliths. And they form a circle. A circle has 360 degrees. 60 times 360, it's 21,600. Officially, according to the archaeologists today, they are saying 5, 8, 10,000 years ago, in Europe was basically the time of the primitive cavemen, especially if you go a little bit older in the past, Paleolithic times. Cavemen obviously did not know how to move huge stones reaching 60 tons. Now, above the equator, we have a latitude. And the Stonehenge is exactly at 51 degrees, 10 minutes, and 42.352941176 seconds. If some of you have a smartphone, and if you go to the calculator, if you multiply those three numbers, 51 by 10 by number of seconds, results is exactly 21,600. What does it tell us? It tells us few simple things. First, that the builders of Stonehenge knew that circle has 360 degrees. It also tells us that they knew exactly where the equator was, because they knew the latitude of this place. And this is not a primitive caveman. This is at least civilization like ours. From the construction point of view, we have two different types of stones. We have blue stones and we have gray stones, some of them reaching 60 tons, the other ones about 25 tons. Those two types of stones are found in the nearest quarry in Wales, over 300 kilometers away. How to move 60 tons? Today we are using a rather primitive method. It's called crane or forklifts. With the crane or forklifts we fight gravitational force. This is the problem with the big mass, gravitation. So we need to produce the bigger force with the cranes. How did they move 60 tons for 300 kilometers? Probably they found a way to neutralize gravitational force, because we don't find traces of cranes from 5, 8 plus thousand years ago. Stonehenge is of course not the only megalithic site in England or in Europe. There are several hundred megalithic sites on British Isles. In England, in Scotland, in Wales, in Ireland. The largest one is called Avebury Stone Circles, near the village of Avebury. There are 3 big stone circles. Today, not many megaliths remained. Originally, it was 155, and the biggest stone circle had about 97 huge megaliths, multi-tons, some of them reaching 40 tons. Another one in Keswick, also huge megalithic site. And then Scotland. Here, Callanish stones we have a stone circle with 13 stones, and then the other megaliths extends to the left, to the right, front, the back, like a cross, running east, west, north, and south. Places on wells, there are dozens of them. They are usually between 6 and 21 meters in radius. And then let's move to something that used to be part of the British Empire, Western France. Around the village of Karnak, there are hundreds of standing stones. In this particular case, we can see 4 lanes of these stones. They are called menhirs. When you have freestanding stone, it's called menhirs. Originally, in Western Europe, there were 250,000 menhirs. It's a huge number. During the medieval times, the Catholic Church was destroying everything that they could not understand. They would say it was a devil's work. So 200,000 destroyed, but 50,000 remained. So we can ask ourselves, who would move millions of tons of megaliths and why? Officially, the time window for those megaliths are 5,000 to 8,000 years. Again, the age of the primitive cavemen. Personally, I doubt that they are only 5,000 to 8,000. They are probably much more. And obviously, it was a social organization who could design, transport, and erect millions of tons of blocks. One of the biggest menhirs is in southern France, menhir de Montmartre. Let's calculate the mass. We have a tall guy here, 190. It's almost 2 meters. 2, 4, 6, 8. With the part which is below the ground, it's 8.5 meters. The length, it's 2 men's length, it's about 4 meters. 4 times 8.5, it's 34 square meters. The thickness, about 1.5 meters. 34 times 1.5, it's about 50 cubic meters. The specific weight of the limestone, 2.2, 50 times 2.2, 110 tons. Somebody shaped, moved, and erected 110 tons, thousands of years back. Another one in Germany, Goldenstein. This is the biggest one in Germany. It was broken off in 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And after the Second World War, they erected it and glued it back. In the northern Cyprus, there is a location called Mevlevi. And they used to have more than 60 megaliths. Some of them are still broken. Now, nobody ever mentioned that there was a megalithic site in the northern Cyprus. I mentioned this because I was there a week ago. And again, one of the blocks was over 10 tons. It seems that the European continent, back in the past, was a location of megalithic cultures. They knew how to deal with the huge stone, how to manipulate. But of course, the most important is, what was the purpose of the megaliths? Archaeologists would gladly say, oh, they were burial sites, but they were not. The purpose was much more important. In eastern Turkey, there is a location called Göbekli Tepe, close to the Syrian border. In 1995, the German archaeologist Dr. Klaus Schmidt discovered under the ground hundreds of megaliths like this one here. He uncovered 3 circles, some of the blocks reaching 25 tons. When I talked to him before he passed away 3 years ago, he told me there are probably hundreds of circles like this. What is the age of this site? Klaus was uncovering the blocks from this filler material, which consisted of pebbles, rocks, and sand, ground animal bones, and ground human bones. Now, if you have organic material, bones, then you can get the age, the date of the organic material. The age of the filler material, 11,600 years, meaning the site is much older because somebody covered it up 11,600 years. What they teach us in schools about the advanced civilizations, that they're about 5,000 to 7,000 years old. The first one was Sumerians, then Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, Hittites, ancient Egypt, ancient India. But this is just the last civilizational cycle. Before this one, there was another one. And this is the proof that before the end of the last ice age, 12,000 years ago, there were very advanced civilizations. Dr. Klaus Schmidt passed away 3 years ago. They said from the massive heart attack, which reminds me to the Cold War era, 1970s and 1980s, when CIA and KGB developed the means with just one touch, which could cause massive heart attack. Why I'm saying that? This has become so unpleasant to conventional science. The site that is thousands of years older than what they claim, than what they have in their history books. So all the PhDs and professorships are now in question. And what they did after he died, they stopped excavation. I went there, and the German Archeological Society, who's been funding this extremely important site, stopped with the excavation. Wouldn't it be logical to uncover all these circles and figure out how big, why, who, and when? Sometimes things that are not logical happen in science. Malta, the island in the Mediterranean, the whole island is in underground tunnels and temples. Some of them, like the one called Hypogeum, are open for public, but only first 200 meters. After that, kilometers of tunnels are closed for the public. And in the open part, we can see some megalithic blocks of 250 tons. You go to the main source of information today, Wikipedia, you will find that until 5,000 years ago in Malta, there were peaceful villagers, agriculture was developed, and then all of the sudden, very advanced engineers showed up. They made all these temples and underground corridors, and they disappeared, and everything was back to normal, to the farmers. In northern Sweden, there is a place called Anandshok. We can see two extended megalithic circles and two stone balls in the middle. The Swedish archaeologists are saying it was probably a representation of the boat. Boat? I don't think so. It is 200 kilometers away from the sea. What we can see here really is number 8. Number 8 is a symbol for the unlimited movement of the energy. No beginning and no end. Energy, the key word that we will mention later on. US, half an hour drive from Dallas, Texas, there is a place called Rockwall. In 1850s and 1860s, excavation started. People were looking for the water, they were digging for the underground wells, and they were finding sections of the walls. In 1950s, there were last excavation, and after that, it was stopped. Why? A lot of archaeologists and geologists are saying this is all natural. Of course it is not natural. Somebody was shaping these blocks, building the walls, and the height of the wall in some places 15 meters. And the size, 10 kilometers by 5.7 kilometers. The problem is, this huge wall has been covered by soil. Imagine how much time it takes to cover 15 meters high wall. It takes hundreds of thousands of years. Officially, the life on the North American continent came only 12,000 years ago. They are telling us when the primitive man came from Siberia through Bering down to southern US. Well, it seems that they are telling us wrong. Let's go back to European continent to another phenomenon, the stone balls. Not far from here, in Slovakia, you can see the stone ball, and above, all this stone sedimentation. That's not the only one. Western Serbia, near the village of Kremna, also volcanic stone ball. Northern Albania and Tirana, stone balls. This one is in Istanbul, near the Hagia Sophia. This one is in Croatia, granite, 5 of them. And in Bosnia, the organization that I established, which is non-profit, non-government foundation called Archeological Park, Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation, we have investigating stone balls on 20 different locations in Bosnia. These are made from granite, which is the hardest material in nature, northeastern Bosnia. There are on this location 8 of them, perfectly shaped, perfectly spherical. And of course, the granite is the hardest material to shape, and especially the shape of the sphere. Today, if we want to shape the granite, we would need to use diamond tools, which is harder material than granite. We would need to have some type of the laser machines, and when they are very heavy, we need to use cranes. So who had diamond tools, lasers and cranes? Thousands, if not tens of thousands of years back. This one is from volcanic stone in the middle of Bosnia, near the town of Konjic. You see how it's nice and polished. This one is northwestern Bosnia, near the town of Banja Luka. This one is not finished. You see the surface, not polished yet. It's about 4 tons. This one we discovered on the top of the hill. It was cold, even colder than here in Czech nowadays. It was minus 18. This is one unfinished stone ball. Some geologists are saying that these stone balls are geological phenomena, that they were made by the work of wind and the water. So what happened here? It seems that the wind got tired, did not finishing the work. The place with the most stone balls is called Zavidović in the central Bosnia. 1936, a big storm, the water came, hit the hill, opened it up, 80 stone balls came out. These are some of them. And then we have made a touristic destination out of these locations. We took samples, we analyzed them, we compared it to the natural stones, concluded 9 elements are exactly the same, but the stone balls have 2 more. One is manganum, which we use today to enhance the hardness, and the other one is calcium carbonate. It is a binding material. Our conclusion, somebody was using natural stone, melting it, adding the additives to get the hardness, pouring them into the molds to get this perfectly spherical shape, and when they got dry, they got very hard stone balls. More places in Bosnia, like this one here, we're talking about 15 tons stone balls. And in March of this year, 2016, we've discovered the largest stone ball, not only in Bosnia, but in the world. As you can see, as we were progressing with the excavation, the ball was getting bigger and bigger, perfectly spherical, partially damaged. The stone ball has a very high content of iron, energetically active, and its mass is 37.2 tons. What I'm not showing you today are the stone balls around the planet. There is a location in Costa Rica near Palmar Sur from granite, western Mexico, volcanic stone, Easter Island, Antarctica, northern Russia, New Zealand, and some other places. But this is the largest stone ball on the planet. Another phenomenon, if you have a shaped, conical hill, artificial in origin, it is called a tumulus. The biggest one in Europe is Silbury Hill in England. Now, this one here is about 60 meters in height. Some people are saying it's natural, some people are saying it is artificial. Obviously it is artificial. And archaeologists would love to find the burial ground here. They are not finding it. The purpose was something different. The second best known in England is called Glastonbury Torch. And the third one, the Marlborough tumulus. This is its view from 1723. Today it's losing its shape, it's covered in forest. Well, in Bosnia we work also on one of the tumulus. Here it is. We have a nice shape here. We've done excavation at different parts, discovering construction material, those huge blocks. Some of them are reaching 24 tons. And they are the combination of the blocks like this, clay, concrete, clay, sandstone blocks. They're like concentric circles going all the way to the top. Maybe question the purpose of this particular tumulus. We have located an energy circle coming from underground, the same size of the tumulus. And because of those concentric circles, the energy ring coming smaller and smaller and smaller and going through the top as the energy beam. So somebody was playing with the energy and the shapes and different materials in the past. On the very top, thanks to our teams of the physicists, electrical engineers, and sound engineers, we have detected and measured energy beam, which is electromagnetic in nature, 4.5 meters wide. It's going up. And now we are coming to next megalithic phenomenon in Europe. They are called pyramids. Of course, you know about Egyptian pyramids, but they are built all over the planet. For example, the island of Sicily in Italy has 43 pyramids. They are built from the volcanic stones. They are stepped in design. 4 sides, plateau on the top, and we do not know the builders, time, or the purpose. Canary Islands, they belong to Spain. There are 4 islands, and there are 103 pyramids. Most of them on the biggest island, island of Tenerife. When I spoke to the professors at the La Laguna University 5 years ago before my lecture, I asked them if they visited the pyramids in a town called Guimar. There are dozens of them over there. They are stepped in design, there are 4 sides, plateau on the top, nicely shaped volcanic stones. Some of them, they have square base, some of them rectangular. They answered my question. They said, well, we went to Guimar, but according to the Spanish scientific community, according to the, okay, now you can hear me. Shall we go from the beginning? According to the Spanish scientific community, these are not pyramids, but pile of rocks made by local farmers when they were clearing the area so they can plant their agriculture. Now, who to believe? Spanish scientific community or our own eyes? What is their problem? Well, the builders, of course. The builders were Guanches, the culture, descendants from 12,000 years old civilization coming from the middle of the Atlantic. And Guanches on those islands, they were building pyramids because they remember some of the knowledge from before. They were building stone temples, stone cities, irrigation channels. And then in the 15th century, the Spanish conquerors came, who were sailing to the west, to Central, North and South America. And Guanches were the first one to feel the power of the Spanish conquerors. So, within a few decades, all Guanches were wiped off from the face of the planet. And in order to hide such barbaric acts, the Spanish scientific community claims, oh, Guanches, they were primitive tribes. They were not able to build pyramids, temples, or cities. And they changed the history. They falsified. On Italian soil, there are 5 pyramid complexes. The biggest one, Monte Vecchia pyramids, between Turin and Milano. 1, 2, 3, all covered by soil and vegetation. And their layout exactly the same like the layout of the Giza pyramids, Cheops, Khafre, Myceren, or Teotihuacan pyramids, Sun, Moon, and Quetzalcoatl. They are telling us there was no communication between continents thousands of years ago. And here we can see the same architect. Pyramids on the Greek territory, 16 of them, and all of them older than officially age of the ancient Greek civilizations. This is the biggest one, Hellenicon, damaged. Pyramids in the southern France, nice. Pyramids in Spain. The city of Palencia, which is in northern Spain, used to be 3 pyramids. They were circular. The height of 2 biggest ones, 74 meters, exactly the same. The third one had been destroyed a few years back when the local factory used the sand. Well, there are a lot of pyramids around the world, but this is not our topic. So I'll stay on European continent. In the last 11 years, I've been running the project called the Bosnian Pyramid Project. As a matter of fact, I discovered the Bosnian pyramids. And I realized that through my trips from China to Peru, Bolivia, Central America, Canary Islands, Mauritius, there are so many thousands of pyramids that we needed to establish a set of scientific criteria and see if they fulfill all these elements. We can call them a pyramid. So, the element number 1, geometry. You have to have a geometry of the pyramid. In most cases, there are 4-sided pyramids. 11 years ago, I first came to little Bosnian town of Visoko, 28 kilometers to the northwest from the capital city of Sarajevo. I came to visit the local museum, and then I saw this. And I'm looking. 1 side, 2, 3, 4. 1 triangular face, 2, 3, 4. The corners are obvious. And the slope, exactly the same from the bottom to the top. And those 4 sides meet at apex. Geometrically speaking, this is a pyramid. I took compass, and compass showed me that this side is perfectly oriented to the north, cosmic north. The one behind, south, east, and west. And this is how the pyramids were built in China or Egypt or Peru. And then I concluded, I do have an artificial structure in the shape of the pyramid here, but after thousands of years, it's been covered by soil and vegetation. You can even see how it looks like from the left. bottom up, 220 meters. 220 meters. The Great Pyramid of Egypt, 147. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, as I named it, 220. The largest on the planet. This is the view from the other side. This is corner between west and north, north and east, west and south. And this is the access plateau, the causeway that leads to the top of the pyramid. We started excavation in 2006, removed 1 meter of soil, and this is where we exposed the corner, northeast corner. We've done a lot of excavation on this and the other pyramids. We have 5 of them in Bosnia. And we named them, or I named them, Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, and Love. The biggest one, the Sun Pyramid, has 17 uncovered sections, which we call archaeological trenches, archaeological sondas. Wherever we dig, we are finding construction material. And this is the second element for the pyramids. Some of the blocks are reaching 40 tons, so we can call them megalithic blocks and megalithic culture in Europe. We removed 1 meter of soil, and this is what we are uncovering. Rectangular blocks. This one is 4.5 meters by 1.5, 45 centimeters, 7 tons. And it's been shaped on all 6 sides. Obviously, somebody shaped it, intelligent hands, not Mother Nature. And here's the first row. Below is the second row, the third, the 4 rows of blocks. We took samples, analyzed them at the Institutes for Materials and Constructions in Italy, Czech, France, Bosnia. They all told us the same thing. It was an artificially made concrete. Concrete, you can measure the quality of the concrete through the hardness and the water absorption. Harder the concrete, the better the quality. Our concretes today are on the scale from 10 megapascals to 60 megapascals. This one here, 73 megapascals to 134 megapascals. The hardest, the best quality concrete ever. The water absorption, if water can get inside the concrete during the winter, it freezes and then it breaks. So the idea is to keep the absorption very low. Our norms in 21st century, up to 3%. This one here, only 1%. Superior. So far we have uncovered thousands of tons of concrete, which covers the largest pyramid on the planet. So, what we have today, this green pyramid, if we just change the color from green to brown, this is what we are getting. Element number 3, orientation of the sides. The Great Pyramid of Egypt has the best orientation so far. The error from perfect north, 0 degrees and 2 minutes. According to the State Institute for Geodesy in Bosnia, the error to the north from Bosnian pyramids, 0 degrees, 0 minutes and 12 seconds. The most precise orientation on the planet. Next, inner chambers, passageways. On this photo, we can see different colors. These are the passageways, the tunnels inside the pyramid on 7 levels. Different colors, different depths. Light blue, white, blue, brown, different depths. From 5 meters to 350 meters below the ground. The next element, underground tunnels. Under Egyptian pyramids, tunnels. Under Chinese, Mexican, Peruvian tunnels. Under Bosnian, the most extensive prehistorical underground tunnel network on the planet. Tens and tens of kilometers. Sixth element, water. We have 2 major rivers, River Fonica and River Bosna, the largest Bosnian river, and a lot of underground water flows. 7th element, the sacred geometry, the holy geometry. What are the elements of sacred geometry? Number pi, 3.14. Number phi, golden mean, 1.618. Equilateral triangle, the perfect geometrical shapes. Well, in the case of Bosnian pyramids, when we connect the tops of the Sun Pyramid, the Moon Pyramid, and the Dragon, the distance between the tops, 2.2 kilometers, inner angles at 60 degrees, perfect equilateral triangle, sacred geometry. This is it, sun, moon, dragon. But then the top of the love pyramid, and the temple of Mother Earth, and the entrance to the tunnels and the river, another equilateral triangle. Triangle within a triangle, sacred geometry. Sacred geometry, movement of the energy. So when we keep the same middle point, oops, we keep it. Tonight we'll talk about it more. We go to the next element, astronomical features. To the left is the shadow of the sun pyramid. 6:30, summertime, this is the western slope of the moon pyramid. Sunset, the shadow completely covers the moon pyramid, 7:30 p.m. And the top of the shadow touches the top of the moon pyramid. The symbolical message is the rule of the day and the sun is over, and the rule of the night and the moon starts. Element number 9, energy potent places. Below the sun pyramid in Bosnia, huge iron plate. Why iron? It generates electromagnetic fields. What the pyramid does? It amplifies electromagnetism. The next, we have underground water flow, 21 meters below the pyramid. Water moves, releases negative ions. The next form of the energy. We have 55 meters below the pyramid, another underground water flow. 2 of them running parallel, electric field is generated. The 4th form of energy, natural magnetism. The 5th form of the energy, orgone or life energy. So the pyramid is actually a huge amplifier of the existing natural energy sources. So they are not burial sites. They are not tombs for pharaohs. But I'll be talking about it a little bit more tonight from 6 to whatever, 8, 9 o'clock at the Institute. Batu Institute, yes. The 10th element, volcanic lines. We are the pioneering in establishing this element. Why volcanic lines? Because of the energy flows under the ground, because of the lava, because of the iron, because of the minerals. So if you have 2 volcanoes, you connect the tops, it's a volcanic line. If you extend this line and at the end there is a pyramid, it means that the pyramid is laying on the volcanic line. We have analyzed 75 major megalithic sites in the pyramids on the planet. All of them have several volcanic lines. That's why they are so energy potent. For example, Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the famous pyramid city. 15 volcanic lines are coming to the common point. Cholula, this is the largest pyramid in Mexico. 18 volcanic lines. Gunung Padang, the pyramid of a hill. That's a pyramid in Indonesia, Western Java, 23,000 years old. It has 17 volcanic lines. Machu Picchu, probably you've heard about this place in eastern Peru, 16 volcanic lines. Bosnian pyramids, 26 volcanic lines. 15 of them have 3, 4, or 5 volcanoes on the line. So if you have all these 10 scientific elements fulfilled, what is the result? The result, the pyramid as the energy machine. We have applied a new technology called PIP camera, developed by British scientist Dr. Harry Oldfield, that can view bioenergy fields that are not visible to the naked human eyes. This is a natural hill in Bosnia, and those energy lines are all horizontal. This is a village in western Serbia, horizontal lines. And this is the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, vertical lines. 2015, 2007, vertical lines. Why? Let's see. The moon. The little town of Visoko, 20,000 people at the base of the pyramid. Here's a pyramid. Look at the red color. It's the energy. It's getting accumulated. You'll be seeing more and more of this energy. You see? It grows. Now everything is red. And this energy is getting released to the top of the pyramid, hitting those horizontal lines. They are becoming vertical. So there are no obstruction for the energy flow. Of course, we have this interesting circle, but that's not the topic of today's lecture. To the right, the town of Visoko, horizontal lines, which is a natural ambiental fields, and to the left, the Sun Pyramid with the vertical. Why? We have an energy machine here, proving that the ancients, the biggest, the most superior pyramids, were built by very advanced beings, and they were built as the energy machines. The Pyramid of the Moon, to the left, the year 2011, vertical lines, 2015, vertical lines, the Pyramid of Dragon, vertical lines, the Pyramid of Love, here to the left, vertical lines, Temple of Mother Earth, vertical lines. All the structures in the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids are still energetically active. Let's see what else we have. Two Russian geophysicists, Professor Havroshkin and Siplakov, made measurements for 2 years, concluding the Bosnian pyramids match Egyptian pyramids in shape, form, and seismic values. And if you go to Egypt, the Sphinx, in the front and the back, two big wooden pallets. Egyptians are digging there during the evenings, not telling tourists anything. What they are looking for, a famous Atlantean library, the Hall of Records. I spoke to the Giza director 3 years ago. I asked him, what did they find so far? He told me, well, I cannot tell you, it's confidential. I've realized that the most important sites in archaeology are full of secrets. They don't tell us everything. Because those secrets belong to the elites. And that's why we said in Bosnia, there will be no secrets. We are open for everyone. And we invite volunteers from all over the world to join us. We came so far from 62 countries, hundreds and hundreds of them. And before you leave, let me show you how it looks like. Doesn't want to start, that's okay. That's okay. We uncovered hundreds of tons of the concrete everywhere. The Moon Pyramid, terrace pyramid with the shaped plates, 190 meters in height, higher than the Great Pyramid of Egypt, two largest pyramids on the planet, Bosnia. Top of the Moon Pyramid, terraces. The profile, the first row of blocks, clay as a binder. The second row of blocks, clay in the binder. The third row of blocks, clay. The base of the Moon Pyramid, second, third terrace, 1, 2, 3, all the way to the top. The age. The soil is between 12 and 15,000 years, according to the Institute for Pedology, meaning the structures are even older. And then we found organic material below the first row of blocks and above the second, like in the sandwich. Fossilized leaves, very important. During the construction phase, the builders were laying out the concrete blocks, first row, second row, third row. The wind was blowing, bringing the leaves, and they placed the fourth row on the top. And those leaves will give us the age of the construction. We did radiocarbon dating in Kiev. The age is 29,200 years plus minus 400 years. 30,000 years. This is radiocarbon date. Calendar age or calibrated date is 15% more. So the age of Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun on European soil, 34,000 years. So like Daniela said in the beginning, yes, we are changing the history. So 20 or 50 years from now, your kids will be reading in the books that history is not what they taught you. It's something different. Tunnels under the Bosnian pyramids, tens of kilometers, huge blocks. We've analyzed them. They are ceramic blocks, georadar instrument. We discovered a quartz crystal inside. So what we have here, underground water flow, water moves, releases energy, activates core crystal, it resonates, it's surrounded by ceramic, and ceramic, with its resonance, generates electromagnetic field, which we can measure with our scientific instruments. More blocks. So, in conclusion, this project is the most open archaeological project in the world. Every year we organize volunteers summer seasons for non-professionals. One of the programs is 11 Day, where we show our volunteers, very nice people from 8 to 84 years, archaeological sites, then we show them the beauties of Bosnia, and then we give them tools. So they can help us removing the soil from the Sun Pyramid and clearing the tunnels. And as you can see, they all have a lot of fun, like Dominic from Holland, or Thea, or this guy from Norway, or this guy from US, or this girl from Russia. By the way, they met here in Bosnia, they got married. So 6 months they lived in Hawaii, 6 months in Moscow. So, when we think about the future of archaeology and the science and humanity, it is not in a closed-minded people, it is in open-minded people ready to share with the smiles on their faces. Thank you very much. How we are with the time?
Thank you very much. We will have a 5-minute break and the discussion will continue, okay? Thank you very much for coming to the episode.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Time is yours now, and it is a chance for you to ask about anything. We had a very interesting discussion with Dr. Semir Osmanagić yesterday about the need that we both feel for critical thinking and questioning the facts that we are provided in our today's society. So you can simply ask about anything. It doesn't have to be connected with doctor's research. Yeah? So this is a chance for you to maybe get to know a bit more about him as a person or the places that he has seen. I asked him yesterday, why is it that he still feels the need to discover new and new places in the world, because he could just easily sit in Bosnia and manage all his project there, but actually instead he publishes a new book every year. Yeah? So he still continues research, not only in the place which already provided him with some scientific results, but he continues exploring the world. Yeah, which I think is very inspiring. Yeah? So feel free to ask about anything that interests you. If there is, if you need help with translation, because we don't have only British studies students here, I'm here to help you, or your teachers are.
You mentioned these volcanic lines. In my research, I've come across the concept of landlines. Along which temples and churches and important sites have been built. Connections? Is it the same thing? Any connections between these landlines?
What you're referring to are the ley lines. Ley lines are basically energy lines that run underground. They are different than volcanic lines. Of course, we need to go back to the concept that everything is energy. Our planet is a huge energy ball, and there are energy movements. The strongest energy flow is north-south. The second strongest is east-west. And that's why the pyramids were oriented to the cardinal points. You build a 4-sided pyramid, you orient it north-south, east-west. Immediately, energy flow starts flow within the pyramid. That's the reason why they are oriented. The Egyptologists, archaeologists, historians have no clue why the Egyptian pyramids are oriented so perfectly to the north, or Chinese, or most of the Peruvian, or Cahokia pyramids in the States. they usually neglect that element, which is extremely important. Now, ley lines are also very important energy lines when you build your objects, especially if it is a very powerful geometrical shape. And the three most powerful shapes are the shape of the pyramid, the conical shape, and the spheres. So basically, when you build such a shape, it amplifies those energies. With amplified energies, it affects your energy field. We all have bioenergy fields around our bodies called aura. Now, the bigger the aura field, the better immunity. And then you are getting a possibility to develop your spiritual senses. Now, in the schools in my time, they teach us that spirituality equals religious or religions. Spirituality, real spirituality, has nothing to do with the religious. Spirituality is development of spiritual senses, so we can sense beyond our physical reality. We all have 5 physical senses. We all can see and smell and hear, but besides 5 physical, we have 30 spiritual senses. We don't develop them today. If there is a kid today in the schools with a gift that can hear or see or predict what other people cannot, we laugh at such kids. So they don't try to develop those abilities. But long time ago, they were teaching the kids to develop the spiritual senses so they could hear more. For example, we can hear from 10 hertz to 20 kilohertz. It's called sound. Above 20 kilohertz is called ultrasound. Animals can hear ultrasound, we cannot. Imagine that we develop the sense to hear more or to see more. Another very important spiritual sense is ability to exchange thoughts. Now, imagine, they teach us in schools that the highest form of communication is through the writings. So if the civilization has the writings ability, they say, oh, it's developed. Like 5,000 years ago, they did not have writings, they were primitive. Really. If I write a paragraph and give it to him and to her and to her and to her, and ask how you interpret this paragraph, there will be all a little bit different translations. Why? Because the words are not so precise. And depending on our scientific, educational, and other backgrounds, we will interpret a little bit different. So, written communication is not so really sophisticated. The most sophisticated is if we have ability to exchange the thoughts. It is called telepathy. Telepathy is a spiritual sense. We all have abilities. We don't develop them. Another one, we all can move objects with the power of our mind. I look at this camera and eventually I can move it. It's called telekinesis, in another spiritual sense. And then we all have our aura field. They don't teach us how to see the aura fields of the other people. You have one field, you have then second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, you have 7 fields around you. And they are all different colors. Different colors, we have different features, different characteristics. So, seeing other people's aura in other spiritual sense. Places like pyramids, they are producing very strong energy fields. Imagine to go through this field, like in the Star Wars, warp, you go through the cosmic gate. Well, we all had that abilities also. It is called teleportation. We are able to move through the space and the time. And then we are getting sick. We don't get sick first on the physical level, but on the energy level. So once you start losing your aura, there is a hole there, discontinuation, then the disease comes. Imagine we can see the fields, we transfer a little bit of our energy, we fix the field, people don't get sick. It's called energy healing. So, spiritual senses. I mentioned them in reference to energy field of the planet. We are getting the energy of the planet, and that's why they were so important for the ancient people. That's why they were building their temples in very powerful shapes. They go inside, they are getting the energy, the immunity goes up, spiritual senses are getting developed. There are also more energy fields below the ground. For example, Hartmann grids. Hartmann grids are energy lines, 30 centimeters, they run east, west, north, south. Every 2.5 meters they intersect. The places they intersect, if you are standing there and we get exposed, we get sick. So it's negative energy from our standpoint of view. In ancient Sumer, when they were building their temples, they were placing the stone columns every 2.5 meters on intersection of Hartmann grids, so people don't go there. They don't get sick. This is a simple knowledge that we have lost over the time. Long time ago, people were sleeping always with their head to the north. Why? Because our body is also energy field. And we have our cardinal points. Our head, north, south, east, west. We go to sleep, we need to keep our head to the north with the energy flows of the planet. We match those energies. If we are off 20, 30, 40 degrees, we wake up in the morning tired after sleepless night. This is a simple knowledge, again, that we have lost over the time. Dogs, they always go to what kind of energy? Negative or positive? Positive. Cats, negative. Cats are attracted by underground water flow. Why underground water? Water moves. It's getting the energy from us. So negative. Cats are always there. Or Hartmann intersections. Cats are always there. Or today they are close to the technical radiation generated by TVs, computers. Cats are always close to our equipment. Why? It got attracted by the negative energy. But it is also very important because they are giving us a hint where not to go. So for the ancient Egyptians, cats were holy animals. For us, dogs are very good. Where your dog is sitting or sleeping, you can go and sleep there too. So now we can see that there are a lot of energy flows. I mentioned Hartmann grids. There are also Curry's grids. They run diagonal. Schneider's grids. A lot of energy flows below the ground, on the surface, and coming from the above. I don't know if I answered your questions, but I went a little bit wider. Anything else you'd like to discuss with me? Yes, go ahead.
If I could follow up.
Yes.
In my research, there's a lot of energies and powers that we've lost. Have these powers been in fact lost, or is there a group of beings that have maintained this power over the millennia? Or do you believe, or have you come across any evidence?
Like I said, we all have abilities to develop spiritual senses, or we can call them powers. Imagine that we can travel through time. Now, in schools today, they teach us when Napoleon was born, what fights he fought, when he was crowned, when he lost his fight. But imagine that you can actually go to that time. Then you would know the real truth, a spiritual sense. That you can hear that. Once you have all your spiritual senses fully developed, you become totally independent from the powers of this planet. And the powers are in the hands of elites. And they have a monopoly on political system, corporate world, medias, financial resources. So they have been controlling our lives for the last 7,000 years. And who are elites? Well, I think you've heard a lot of names like Illuminatis, like Masons, like Committee of 313 families, and it all ends up at the top of the pyramid. with the Rothschilds in Europe and the Rockefellers in the United States. The way they function, once they decide to develop the project, for example, August of 2008, they decided after the years of booming economy, they're gonna generate a huge crisis. One day, out of the blue, on CNN, August 13, they said, we are going to the crisis. We are going to the big recession. People are thinking, what are they talking about? But then, all other medias, ABC, CBS, Fox, and the others started talking about it. And of course, the whole world accepted that. And really, the next quarter showed the signs of recession, slowing down of the economy, and the next one, and the next one. So the world was in the recession. Now, it's not enough to use the power of media that you owned. For example, Westinghouse owned National Geographic. Westinghouse is owned by the Bank of America, and Bank of America and Chase, of course, by the Rockefellers. They decide what to do in all the fields. It can be movie business, it can be cultural happening, it can be genetical investigation, in most cases politics, economy, money. When the leading figures on the top of the pyramid decide what they're going to do with the banking system, they go to the meetings every year. 12 biggest banks in the world are met in Switzerland, Bank of America, Chase, Bank of England, Deutsche Bank, the Japanese, Switzerland, and so on, and they decide about the financial policy. If the policy is to generate the recession, they are not going to loan the money. Without the money, big corporations don't start big projects. Without the big projects, they don't buy goods from the middle-sized company. Mid-sized companies don't buy stuff from the small companies. And then, all of a sudden, you have unemployment. And that's exactly what we had in 2008. So these crises are artificially caused by the elites. Educational system. Now I'm going to answer your question. Of course, we knew that a long time ago people would teach their kids in the fields, out in the forests, beautiful places by the rivers, because they were energetically so important. Now they teach us in schools, in places like this. You need to learn this, you have your test, you pass the test, you forgot what you learned a day before. Now, the next thing is no critical thinking. And I tell you one thing, you accept it the way it is. You need to doubt everything, including everything what I said today. I usually say, in most cases I'm wrong. 95%, maybe 100% I'm wrong. For some people today, I look like, oh, he's a little bit more advanced, he's doing well. But 20 or 50 years from now, people will be laughing at me how little I knew. And this is called scientific progress. You're getting new stuff every so often. And why would people be afraid of book changing? Of course, we need to change the history books. But what I do is not only different view of the past, because those who control the past, elites, they control the present and the future. Once you give different view of the past, then we could change our present. So I would say it is not forgotten, but it is intentionally being suppressed. They don't want creative thinkers in the society, because if you are creative, then why would you care who's on power? Today everybody is scared, oh, Trump is there, this is Angela Merkel. It doesn't matter. The political circles should be there to serve the people, to be our service. Instead, they took all the powers from us and they make decisions for us. It should be opposite. They should simply serve us. And those times will come. Because when you have free people, then why should they care, who's running the service? And this service is not on the top anymore. So I would say it's been intentional. During the time when I was going to school, they would develop our physical senses a little bit better. For example, I was able to multiply two-digit numbers. They taught us that. For example, 25 times 25, 625. Today you ask kids to multiply two One-digit numbers. 8 times 9. 65. So, they are further reducing our physical senses, so we don't think. We simply have to follow. We work all day long, to pay our mortgages and our loans, so we could afford the cars and homes. And by working and work, we don't have a time to think about our lives, about the purpose of our life. The purpose is not to accumulate technical gadgets and the big homes. The purpose is to be happy, to enjoy the life. How you enjoy the life, you are aware of your destiny. How do you figure that one out? Well, you need to develop spiritual senses. Why we are on this planet? Why you are on this planet at this particular moment? What is the purpose of your life? When I turn back 30 years back in my life, I could see like an invisible hand taking me to all those places, doing my Ph.D. in the Central America, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Belize, Mexico, getting all these pyramids, learning about them, thinking about them, going to Peru, Bolivia, China, Mauritius, Canary Islands, US, all these places. So when I was ready 10 years ago, I went to Bosnia, to my own country where I spent my youth. I went there. So when I saw this was not a natural hill for me, because I learned, hey, you have geometry, take the compass, you have perfect orientation, start digging blocks, start drilling, you see the layers that are not natural, the pyramids. You announce to the world the big news, and everybody is against you. Bosnian cultural establishment, archaeologists, geologists, historians, museum curators, all against you. And then European archaeological associations, all against you, leading French, German, British, American professors against you, leading Egyptologists, Dr. from Cairo, what's his name? Dr. Havas against you. And their tools, National Geographic against you, Wikipedia against you. They are saying, oh, Wikipedia, anybody can write. Yes, in 80% of cases, but 10 to 20%, the most important cases, you cannot do any changes because it is fully controlled. So everybody is against you. So what do? Most of the normal people would give up. But you don't give up your noble goals and your dreams. You just keep following them. So you learn what is the purpose in your life. You don't give up. And then you can be example to a lot of other people. So, yes, to answer your question, yes. They purposely keep us uninformed about the most significant questions. And the secondary stuff, they make the most important. Imagine that we are all free men. We would have free society. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I finished.
I have a question. You made me think, and thank you for that. When I start thinking about energy and orientation, now if all these like gravitation, I don't know, thermal energy, magnetic, electric fields, these are sort of natural energies. How comes we need a civilization to align and to build a structure which is in agreement with the energy flows or fields? How comes that the nature does not orient itself accordingly to these energy passes? And actually, when I think about the nature organizing itself, and I think about myself, whether I sleep at night in the north-south direction, do animals feel these energies, and do they function according to them? Should I look at my dog, whether it sleeps north-south orientation? So actually 2 questions, but both about the energy and nature. How do they work together?
Of course, nature does work according to the energy flows, but the nature does not shape hills, like pyramids, or perfectly spherical. You have to have touch of intelligent hands who understands the power of geometry, who understands the power of sacred geometry elements. I mentioned number pi, 3.14. That number pi is incorporated in Great Pyramid of Egypt, the Khufu Pyramid. The length at the base, 231 meters, two bases, 462, divided by height, 147. The result is 3.14. Officially, this number, 3.14, if the Khufu's pyramid was built by Pharaoh Khufu 4,500 years ago, but it was not, it was built much, much before. But even if we go by what they are telling us, 4,500, number pi will get known to the public only 2,000 years later with the ancient Greek mathematicians. So we can see that somebody knew the power of number pi. And by the way, Great Pyramid of Egypt is a huge energy machines also. The Khafre, the second one, also. So they knew the power of orientation, the cardinal points. They have underground tunnels also. Through the underground tunnels, they knew that the cavities amplifies the energies also. They knew that the quartz crystal receives and amplifies the energy also. So they knew the power of the natural energy sources, and they were giving the shapes so they can use it. For example, in our tunnels we have those big blocks, you saw them. We know they are above underground water flow. It's negative energy. But they were making those blocks with the special materials. They are taking from the nature, minerals, quartz crystal, muscovite, and the others. And they were making the materials that would neutralize negative energy, getting it to positive. My dog always comes to this block because he feels very powerful energy spot, which is positive. So they go instinctively. It's like a reflex for them. Because they hear, they see different than us. They see, oh, this is a good energy spot. Let me go there. Let me get the energy. At one point in the time, we had those abilities also. We open our hands and we can see, oh, this is negative, this is positive, I'm going to sit here, I want to be there. So it's just a matter of teaching the teachers so they can teach the kids that ancient wisdom. And it's a lot of it around us. More people go to the forest, again, they awake some of those abilities. Now, in Bosnia, we made a park. We purchased some land and it was wetland, muddy. We make it real nice. And now I take kids from elementary school to higher up. I take them and then we stop at one point, it's 12 noon. Of course, the sun high on the horizon. I ask them, okay, now tell me, where is the sun? What is this cardinal points? Of course, it is south. Nobody knows. We got 50 kids. Nobody knows. I mean, this is the basic knowledge. If the sun is there at the noon, it means it is south. The opposite is north. East is there. West is there. You need those cardinal points, but actually we don't need them today. If we put 99% of us in the forests, away from civilization, we wouldn't last for very long. We wouldn't know where to go, how to direct ourselves, how to find the food and stuff like that. And this is the basic knowledge which we have lost. We need to go back and feel the earth again. There is a reason why the ancients called our planet Gaia, why they call it Mother Earth. Because it is our mother. It gives us everything that we need. And the sun, it is our father. It gives us the light and the heat, but not only that, it gives us the information on invisible level. We are getting code from the sun. Yes?
I'd like to ask you a question about the presentation, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
You show us the picture of the energy. Could you possibly tell me what kind of device you use to capture the picture of the energy of the lines?
Oh, the PIP camera? Yeah, yes. This one here? It's called PIP camera, polycontrast interference photography. It's developed by Dr. Harry Oldfield, who was somewhere there. So you can go just on Google PIP photos, PIP, and then you will see, and our pyramids are the only one filmed by this technology. So we know that they are energetically active.
Which kind of energy are these waves?
Well, these are different fields. They vibrate a little bit higher than what our eyes can take. Our eyes are just on different frequency.
Some kind of electromagnetic field?
Well, we have actually, now we are coming to the next question, which will be part of my lecture tonight. We have measured different phenomena. Electromagnetism is one of them. We measured on the top of the Sun pyramid the presence of the electromagnetic beam, which is 4.5 meters in radius. It goes up. That's electromagnetic field, which is 28 kilohertz, which is focused and continuous. We measure it during all seasons, fall and the winter and the spring and the summer. So this is one of the energy fields. Another one is also very strong electric fields. Electric fields goes like this, like some type of standing waves. There is ultrasound also, 28 kilohertz, going through this electromagnetic beam. So ultrasound usually means some type of the information. Through these beams we have information moving from our planet somewhere to the universe. So there are different fields. There is also one type of energy called orgone energy, life energy. Nobody teaches about the life energy here in the Western world. But in the eastern part of the societies, India and some others, they knew that there is something which can be called life or chi energy. For example, when you see the leaves on the trees in the spring, when they just start growing, they are nice and green. The summer comes, during the summer, because of the very strong sun, slowly they are changing the color to brownish, yellowish. The fall comes, they are dead. So during different times, this leaf has a different percentage of the life energy. Let's say from 100% in the spring to 1% during the fall. So there is an instrument developed by Americans to develop the percentage of the life or orgone or chi energy. And the pyramids in Bosnia and the tunnels below the pyramids have 100% of the life energy. In this village, it's about 60 to 70%. In the contaminated cities, 20 to 40% a life energy. So different type of energies, and I would say that probably the pyramid generates more types, but we don't have a scientific instruments developed to measure them. And that's the reason when people ask me who built the Bosnian pyramids, they were more developed than us. Yes.
You
Yes.
already mentioned the media, so if you could maybe just say a few words about the way the journalism is done today, and maybe, because if you just Google Bosnian pyramids, you will find a few articles. Most of them are just based on copy-paste kind of method from the internet. Not many journalists really go and do their own research so that they write their own opinion based on what they see.
Generally, our society is based on fear. Fear to say the wrong things. Like at the university, education, you say wrong thing, then you lose your exam or you lose your job. In the corporate world, you say the wrong thing in front of your supervisor, you lose your job. In the media world, you say the wrong thing, you write the wrong thing, again, you lose your job. With losing your job, you lose your home, your cars, your wife, your family. So the fear is instilled in us since we are very young, because we don't want to lose those stuff. We want to drive nice cars and live comfortably and have the money. So there are those with the strings who decides what is allowed, what is not. And media is a major part of it. They're called conventional or mainstream media. They are part of political elites and their thinking. When they want to promote something, they got it through their medias. For example, you were able to see during the last US election why everybody supported Hillary Clinton, because they knew exactly what they were getting. She was part of the elites and their thinking. Now Trump, he has his own money, so he's not so influenced by the lobbies. So he's in a way independent. Now he's going to have his own agenda. So what they do, they want to make sure that everything is controlled and they know the outcome. Now, when we see how the media works, they usually are talking about two sides, they try to be objective. As a matter of fact, the media and everything else should be in function of the truth. I remember during the Bosnian War, the Bosnian was attacked by a more powerful army, Yugoslav army, and then on one hand you had people with all kinds of military equipment. And there, Sarajevo was under the siege for 3.5 years. People, without the military equipment, without the guns, it's really a miracle that they survived. And then Christiane Amanpour from CNN, she comes. She spends some time in Sarajevo, the city under the siege, and she interviews some people. Then she goes 10-15 kilometers to the hills. She interviews those people. Of course, those people are saying, no, they are attacking us, we are... Of course, nobody's attacking them. But then, when you hear two opposite stories in the US or in Russia or Venezuela, you are watching CNN, then you don't know who's telling the truth. So the journalists should be there to bring the truth out. In the case of Bosnian Pyramid Project, obviously so many circles, they don't like our discovery. We change everything. And like I said, the monopoly on truth, on past, is in the hands of the elites. And look what we have here in Bosnia, of all countries in Bosnia, a little remote country. There is the biggest discovery ever. It's not controlled by them, but by a little non-profit foundation and one little guy who happens to be independent financially and intellectually. They don't like that. They don't want to allow that. So they use their media first to boycott and lately to misrepresent this discovery. But then, if you face something like that, the worst thing is to give up. You have to be patient. You work with them. You show them that the arguments are on your side. It will take sometimes 10 or 20 or even more years. If you believe in something, you'll get enough people to support you, and the truth is going out there.
I have a question. When you were on this pyramid at the top, did you feel some sense of different energy, like life energy, as you said?
Well, I would say that everybody who came to the Bosnian pyramid sites, they kind of changed themselves. The more time you spend there, the bigger the change. 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't hear such a presentation from me, especially 20 years ago. And I can see that every year my presentation changes. And tonight, well, I'm going to have a full Bosnian pyramid presentation. 10 years ago, I was talking about the pyramids as the material objects. Now, you start with archaeology, then different scientific disciplines, then you talk about the energies, then you talk about spirituality, and then you talk about the healing aspects. Different aspects. You realize that you need to be wide open to understand sites like this one. I didn't talk about the purpose of megalithic sites like Stonehenge. It does have its calendar features, astronomical features, but number one is the energy. Place where they made it. Probably some of you heard that during certain days, like summer solstice, spring equinox, the druids or descendants of druids come, they take their hands. Why? Because they are getting the energy from the stone. Stone has the ability to receive the energy from the underground and slowly release it. The same thing we have in Bosnian pyramid tunnels, big blocks, the energy is getting released. Plus, we learned that everything is alive. Water is alive. And again, tonight I'm going to have a lecture where I'm going to be showing the molecular pictures of the water which is exposed to different stuff. For example, if you have water exposed to the Mozart or Beethoven music, a beautiful structure. If you have even kitchen water, city water, given to the Buddhist priest, and for 1 hour he has mantra of love. He was saying for 1 hour to the water, I love you, I love you, I love you. The molecular structure changes to a beautiful one. Or if you take the water and you're telling it, I hate you, I hate you, I hate, it becomes so ugly. You take the water which is contaminated from rivers or lakes, very bad. You take water which is exposed to the pyramid energy, beautiful hexagonal structure, hexagonal, the perfect geometrical shape. So water reacts, water is alive, it has memory. They don't teach us that in schools. They tell us, oh, water does not smell, it's dead. It's not dead. So if you drink good water, then your vibration level goes up. If you drink only city water, the bottled water, then it low energy pulls you down, low vibrations. Of course, other elements like pH factor are also important. They tell us on a scale from 0 to 14, 7 is ideal, neutral pH, it's a balanced water. But then what they do, they filter our water, they add chlorine, but this water have traces of heavy metals going through metal pipes. It's dead energetically. So you drink it, nothing happens, just go through you. But if you drink healing water, it feeds your cells. pH factor, our blood 7.25 to 7.45. The water from the pyramids in Bosnia, 760. Excellent, excellent. It kind of gives you some type of excitement. The drinks that you have, the green, was it Sprite, tonic, was it, what is it?
It's but
Ah, very good. Alright. Cokes, Schweppes, Sprite, pH factor, 3. What's healthy is 7 to 8. It is 3. Iced tea, about 6. So, we've been poisoned all our life. Fluoride in the toothpaste, it's a poison. Chlorine, it's a poison. They sprayed us from the above. Well, this is not part of this lecture, okay. So, you know, we can see that it is like the forces behind the scene that's not willing us good. So we need to find our ways out.
Maybe to answer the question, I could add some of my own experience.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes.
What is it that you can feel when you are there? So maybe I could say a few words about the first time I came to Visoko. It was actually a coincidence. I didn't plan to see pyramids. I was not interested in any pyramids whatsoever at the time. I was simply exploring Bosnia, which was my favorite country at the time. And so I came to Visoko, I didn't know anything, I simply entered the tunnel which was mentioned here. And as I say, I had no factual knowledge, I had no idea where I am, right? So I just went inside. And after an hour I spent inside, I went outside and I felt that my body would feel very light. I would feel that any possible little pain that I had in my body before entering was simply released, yeah? Even today, it's because I often go there, so each time I enter, it's always that I leave all the heaviness of my physical body inside, and you have the feeling, if you are a little sensitive, as if your body went up, because the energies which are inside the Ravnetans are actually described as levitation energies even. So it is not what I do inside, that I would levitate, but probably there is potential to do even that. So there will be the tunnels, yeah? I myself, when I'm there with people who have chronic or chronic diseases or some acute diseases, they feel great relief, yeah? Asthma, problems with joints, yeah? Backbone, things like that, yeah? I myself finished the healing process of thyroid gland there, yeah? Štítná žláza. Actually, unfortunately, many women already at your age, maybe 1/3 or 2/3 of women in the Czech Republic, take pills regularly on thyroid, yeah? hypothyroidism and these illnesses. So it helped me heal some of these. Yeah, I used to have asthma, I don't have it anymore. Yeah, I'm not saying it is just this, but it's not any pills, it's not anything like that. We are able to actually heal our bodies, yeah, on physical level, on emotional level, on all levels. And places like this, it's not just in Bosnia, but in Bosnia it goes easy. In Bosnia you just spend some time on these places, and it happens, really, yeah. Okay, don't believe in anything I'm saying. Please go check, yeah, or talk to other people who visited these places. Right on the Sun Pyramid, right on the top, what you can feel is very interesting, because many people who don't think they are sensitive, they would actually feel things there, yeah, because it's very, very strong energy. Because I go very often. Recently, I don't even go to the top anymore because it's just too strong, yeah. People who are able to see auras, if you stand in the middle of the beam, your aura actually, the color changes. Yeah? It becomes rainbow kind of colorish, right? So really unusual things happen there. Yeah? But even from the recently in this year there were medical experiments, yeah, with people who actually went to the tunnels, went outside. Yeah, their sugar was measured, their sedimentation was measured. All of these levels were increased. Now, this is what we will be speaking about today at 6 o'clock in Batia's Institute. Yeah, because this will be specifically on healing aspects. I hope a lot of doctors from our hospital will come, and maybe some things will be changed. Because when I met my doctor, who was healing my thyroid with the pills, I met her while swimming, and she told me, "You used to come to me and you are not coming anymore." I said, "I don't come because my tests are okay and I don't need it anymore." She said, "It doesn't happen, it's not possible," right? So it's actually important to show that it is possible, right? And places like this really help. Okay? So what you feel there might be a bit of magic, if you can call it this way.
Professor, I really thank you for your time and the information. Quickly, one more tangible, practical question. Our students in our classes, we speak about Wikipedia, for example, and you mentioned that it's controlled, like specifically, the Wikipedia pages in your native languages and in English about the Bosnian pyramid. Have you seen evidence that the information there is controlled? And can you be more specific about
yes,
for our students?
The most important versions, which is English, they don't let you change anything. For example, Bosnian pyramids. They say, well, let me find the exact. The Wikipedia. The Bosnian pyramids are a pseudo-archaeological claim promoted by this gentleman here. They are saying that geologists, archaeologists, scientists concluded that they are just natural formations. And I'm promoting the hoax. Now, this expression hoax coming from President of European Archaeological Association, Dr. Anthony Harding, from 2006, has never been there. Nobody from European Association came there. Well, in the meantime, we have held 6 international scientific conferences, 120 scientists, lab analysis, radiocarbon dating, sample testing. Of course, they all prove that the pyramids are there. And we've been submitting, different people submitting to Wikipedia. They never changed that. And one of the guys who was most persistent, he was talking to editors. There are like, in our case, 16 editors, and they are all against us. And they went to the main guy. He said, "Okay, let me check." So he went to check. He came back to us. He said, "The Bosnian pyramid entry will never be changed. Will never. Doesn't matter what you discover, it will never be changed." So, yeah, this is the world of manipulation. But more and more people are aware of that. Again, independent thinkers.
So, on the other hand, your books that you have written about this, can you?
Yes. Well, she mentioned that I write almost 1 book a year. This book here, Pyramidy sveta a bosenské údolí pyramid, is good pronunciation. So it's about the pyramids around the world. It's about the Bosnian pyramids. I'm proving first that what they've been telling us about the pyramids built in Egypt and Mexico only, it's totally wrong. They're built all over the planet. Secondly, Egyptian pyramids as tombs, totally wrong. No mummies in Egyptian pyramids, no royal furniture, no hieroglyphic writings, no nothing, not a single proof, who built them, when, how, and why. And so basically through the books, through the websites, through YouTube's videos, through the lectures like this one, through the interviews, we invite people to come to Bosnia. They come and they make their own conclusions. We don't try to convince anything to anyone. Come, see. We have 15 guides. Basically they lay all the scientific evidence, so let people conclude for themselves. Now, in Egypt, you go there, it's commercial reason. You go there, you ride a camel, they take a photo in front of the pyramid, you come home, hey, look where I was. The pyramids are not about that. The pyramids are to be felt. Like she is mentioning, first time she went to the tunnels, she felt something. Great percentage of people who go there, they do feel stuff like, energetical, healing experiences, spiritual experiences. I've seen people climbing the pyramid or going to the tunnels from the business women who are 100%, materialistic beings, business, money. All of a sudden, they got a change in their life. So it was like they received a message somewhere through this frequency and vibrations. The body received the message and they changed. So many of them in the last 10 years. Especially healing stuff. Healing stuff very important, and I'll be discussing that today and tomorrow. But it tells us that we have so much to learn from the ancient civilizations. I mentioned the water. I just want to show you a few photos because probably you won't have a chance to see them. Okay.
Now the books are all available in English. Yeah, this is the only one that is available in Czech. It was published in April.
This is Japanese late Dr. Masaru Emoto. He became popular filming the molecular structure of the water. He would freeze it, -4 degrees, and then he'd film it. And this is, for example, molecular structure of the tap water, city water from the New York City. So we don't see any structure here. This is the water, molecular structure, that has been exposed to heavy metal music. It's all scared. This is the water from one of the biggest dams in Japan. From here it looks fine, but look how bad the structure is. And this is the largest fresh lake in Japan, Lake Biwa. Looks beautiful on satellite photos, nice, blue color. But look how this contaminated water really looks like. And we drink this. And this is the water of the Bosnian pyramids. You see hexagonal structures, crystal structures. So this is an example that everything is alive. Water is alive. Plants are alive. The stones are alive because they vibrate. The vibration gives them a life. So when you asked about the change, yes, 10 years ago, if you would tell me the stones are alive, I said, what? It changes. You learn stuff. And you open yourself up, and then you are getting full information. Any questions, comments? Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Pyramids. In Egypt, when they were building it, they wanted to build something magnificent, like for the scenery, isn't there? But in the Bosnia, it's like you have many hills, and the pyramid is kind of hidden in the hills. Like, why did they build it there?
Huh. Let's see. Find Egyptian pyramids from the beginning. These are three major Giza pyramids, right? Khufu, Khafre, Meseret. Here, 5 million tons. You enter the pyramid, you can see these beautiful megalithic passageways, but no paintings on the walls. Chambers, kings, queens, they are empty. No royal furniture, no hieroglyphic writings, no symbols, no tools, no organic materials. We really don't know who built it, when, how, and why. So when you say they are built for, we don't know why they are built. However, we can do some measurements. For example, the second largest Khafre in 1970s, Egyptologists invited the group of Japanese geophysicists to try to apply their equipment and find hidden passageways or chambers or mummy. The Japanese came, they are doing measurement, they never found those passageways, but they concluded that every 10 minutes the energy of the field of the pyramid changes. They were shocked. They said, this is not only construction, this is an energy machine. And Egyptologists threw them out of the country. They said, we did not invite you to tell us this is an energy machine, but to find us mummy of the pharaoh. So after that, Egyptians never allowed any energy measurements, because what they've been teaching us is so wrong. And for the last 80 years, with the support of Hollywood movies, when they say pyramid, they say, oh, Egypt, pharaohs, mummy, everything's wrong. Those pyramids are not built by Egyptian pharaohs. They were not places to bury the mummies. Now, the Bosnian pyramids, they are covered by soil, but they're not the only one covered by soil. Matter of fact, majority of the pyramids in the world are covered by soil. Let me see if we have any more pyramids here. Oh, we don't have them in this presentation. But in China, 250 of them covered by soil after 12,000 years. In Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, tens of thousands of them in the jungles, in the forests. Why? Egypt is south, desert, dry, sunny, no greenery, no rain. And we are China, Bosnia, Mexico, it's different climate belt. A lot of rain, wind brings the vegetation. And in cases like here, you see the dark green, the forest has been planted in 1960s and 1970s. The same thing in China. They planted the trees, so they wanted to hide them from the view of the Western world and wanted to show them as a natural hills. Why? The reason is different. Officially, the Chinese history is about 5,000 years old. The first Chinese emperor, Emperor Qin, united 7 provinces in the great Chinese nation, and he built the great Chinese wall, the same currency, 2,300 years ago. And now, because of the pyramids which were built over 12,000 years ago, we need to change the Chinese history. They are not ready for that, and that's the reason why they don't uncover it. So, I wouldn't say that it was a green pyramid, it was purposely covered in Bosnia, but after thousands of years, you know, the wind blows, bringing the dust and the soil, and eventually you got bushes and vegetation. I know during the Bosnian War, people were forced to leave their homes. After 3, 4, 5 years, when they went back, in the middle of the living room, they would find a tree growing. You know, if you are not there, the nature overcome everything on her way. Okay? Yes.
I was regret if I wouldn't ask you. It's about.
Did you say you would regret?
Yeah, if I didn't ask.
Well, then don't ask.
It's about if you have ever heard about mountain in the Tibetan mountain, the mountain called Kailas. That it's supposed to be a hidden pyramid. And what is actually interesting about it is it's the length and the numbers. That the height is 6,666 kilometers.
Not kilometers.
And from the Stonehenge, the length is 6,666 kilometers. And from the North Pole as well. And to the South Pole, it's exactly double. It's 14,332 kilometers.
It should be 13,000, but that's okay.
Sorry. And it's claimed by the Tibetan Munics that there is some sacred entrance for Shambhala, and and another artificial a little pyramid, put it on the top to be higher than the 6,066 meters. So if you know something about this.
Which part would you regret of that long question?
I was afraid to ask.
The Mount Kailash in Tibet, this is the Chinese side. It's a natural mountain. It's a holy, sacred ground. Next time I'm going to go there in May. Mount Kailash has two sides which resembles triangular faces, not perfect triangular face like here. So it is not shaped, it is not built. There is no pyramid on the top. But you are right, some of the measurements are much more than coincidences. And you are right, there are ideas that there is a secret entrance to the underground world. What people do when they go to Mount Kailash, of course, first few days because of the height, they need to wait, they need to adjust themselves, and then they go around. It takes about 3 days to go around Mount Kailash. So it is not an artificially made pyramid, but it does open the question, because on this planet there are some very strange mountains and some very strange measurements that that are much more than a coincidence, like some invisible forces were shaping and laying out some of the mountains and some of the environment. And then we can go back to something else. You've heard about reincarnation. People are talking that our soul is going to run from one physical body to another one in the next life. Now the question is, what is happening between two lives, after death and before the birth? There are some references in the expert literature that those souls, the group of souls, are taken and they continue with the teaching, with the developing. They take them to different planets. There is no life. And they teach them how to shape, environment, how to shape hills. And they even teach them how to generate very elemental life forms, like one cell beings. So is it possible that other forces than intelligent beings like us in distant past were shaping some of the mountains? Well, I would say let's stay open even for such an option.
Maybe if you could make some final recommendation for the students, because we talked about free flow of information and being critical thinkers. So what would be your idea of what we can do to access quality information and how to actually evaluate the information that we receive?
Well, that's what nicely said. Basically, you answered in your question. What I would tell them, final, is to enjoy the life, to be happy. That's the purpose. We need to live fulfilled life. And yes, in order to live it, we should not be controlled. We need to be critical. What we are getting through the media, through the air, through the products, what they are feeding us with. So, well, I wish you good luck in the life. I wish you that you found your happiness and love, very important. Love for the partners, love for your neighbors, love for the planet. Yes. When people come to Bosnia, we have this beautiful park. A few months back, I'm looking, 2 women in their 50s. They are hugging each other, they are laughing, they are talking, they're very joyful. One was from Istanbul, and one was from Tel Aviv. One was Muslim, another one was Jew. Where do you have places where Jews and Muslims hug each other, enjoy the life? The Bosnian pyramid site. That's what we want to introduce. So once you start with the stuff like that, you change yourself, you start changing everything that surrounds you. And you want that such an island of change is joined with another one, another one, another one, all around the planet. And that's how we change the planet.
I would add
Yes.
one more idea. I would also suggest that it's really a good idea to follow your heart, because I have always been very passionate about Bosnia, and I actually never knew that it would lead to a situation in which my profession here combines with my passion in Bosnia, and it is surprisingly possible, and I'm very happy that it actually happened. Yeah, I'm very happy that you came, that you listened to us, and I hope that maybe one day we will all meet there. Even, okay? Thank you.
We already had some requests for people to volunteer there, to come there. I think it's a beautiful experience. You meet people, like you have 20, 25 people from different countries, you work with them, and the work is very important. I mean, you do physical stuff, you're digging, you're getting dirty, but it's fun. It's fun. Sometimes it's rain, you are muddy, but it's fun. Then in the evenings you go, you discuss different stuff. Then you realize there are so many people with a similar, view of the life, or you learn some new stuff. So it's important. And then you're in the nature, you are with the pyramid energy. So volunteering there is a great experience. And of course, those who are interested in, you have Daniela. She has all the info. She has a link to our website where people can just fill out the form and come. They can show up, stay 3 days. They can come through our programs 11 days. Or we have people who stay for 3 months and enjoy the summer over there.
And I actually organized a group this summer, a group of volunteers.
Yes.
And I myself worked physically on the sites, and it was actually a really interesting experience, because the people you meet there are very open-minded, right? And it's mostly really people who care about the quality of life, and they do have this kind of critical thinking and so on. So this place really attracts very, very interesting people. Yeah? So maybe if you are thinking about something that you can do this summer, this could be a place to go, really. Yeah? Especially because of the people that are attracted to this place. Yeah? They really come from different countries of the world, and we shared a lot of knowledge and experience.
So it's possible to come there just for a few days, because I'm organizing some trip with my friend. She's half Bosnian, and we will go to Vozuć. I don't know if you
Vozuća?
And so I was chatting with her, and I was telling her the information, because she doesn't even know about it. And so it's possible to come there?
Of course.
For a few days.
Now, there are different programs. One of them is called volunteering only. The first one is, we call them Expedition on Bosnian Pyramids. We provide everything. We provide accommodation and the meals and the, local transport, everything. But usually people who come for second, third time, they already know where to get accommodation, and they have some car or whatever. They simply send us when they would come to volunteer, 2, 3, 7 days, because we have our calendar. We work from Monday to Friday. They show up 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock. We provide a lunch, they work, we have our supervisors, we have our tools, equipment, we tell them, instruct them what they need to do, and they spend the day. They like it, they come another day, next week. So if you're planning, if you're going to be driving through Bosnia, you decide to stay 3 days, there are a few hotels and motels and hostels and private accommodation, and you come, volunteer for a few days. Yeah, it is possible.
In 2 minutes we will have brochures with the website, yeah, so that you can see where you can actually register, yeah. And the lunch that was mentioned for the volunteers is actually brilliant, yeah, because it is prepared by the local women, so it's traditionally Bosnian. It's really nice.
Yes.
Because maybe one final thing we could mention is really the quality of food in Bosnia, yeah, because in here we consider the country to be slightly undeveloped or something like that, right? People who don't know anything about Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yes, it's almost fully undeveloped.
Yeah, but tell us a bit about the quality of food. Yeah?
Now, the food is very important. Some people are saying we are what we eat. or we are what we drink, or we are what we breathe, or we are what we think. But we are what we eat part. Of course, before the animals would, go freely, and today the way they grow the animals is really awful, and I don't want even to mention that. The meat that we eat is full of the antibiotics, chemicals. So the main idea is to make them big, a lot of meat, so they can make a lot of money, but as cheap as possible. So not very healthy. In Bosnia, still you have some free-roaming animals, so that meat is the real meat, is much tastier for those who eat meat. So yeah, Bosnia is still the country to recommend for the meat with not much of the GMO food, because if the animals eat GMO, non-organic, obviously you indirectly have the problems. So I would say Bosnia is still about 50 to 50 or 60 to 40 with organic food. That's why it's so tasty. When I first went to the US 25 years ago, I moved there, and then you go to the stores, you see those, for example, beautiful apples. They're all red, they're all the same size, they're beautiful. But then you start eating, you have no idea what you're eating. You go buy almonds. I remember my grandfather in Croatia, we had almond trees, so you actually get this almond, and then of course, it smells real nicely. You eat almonds, you close your eyes, it is like you eat a piece of wood or bark, or no taste. That's why Americans use so many sauces. They come to Bosnia and we give them the food, but almost no sauces. Where is the sauce? I mean, taste the food. So yes, she is right. Bosnia still have some of those original tastes, but less and less. Because the GMO is everywhere. We are not even aware. Everything that we eat is, in most cases, GMO. Western Europe especially. And when they extend the loans to those countries, of course you need to have a loan from IMF, International Monetary Fund, or the World Bank, or your economy always needs 10, 20, 30% for your budget. They blackmail you. Okay, you're going to get the loan, but you need to follow certain rules. First of all, you need to open the market for our seeds, GMO seeds. Or even today, you heard about the cannabis and the marijuana. All of a sudden, last 10 years, in the US, more than half of the states approved the legislature that cannabis becomes legal for the medicine purposes, but more and more people are growing that. The same thing in Mexico, some European countries. How is that possible? Because Monsanto started with the GMO seeds for cannabis. So it will be up to us to break this circle and go back to the original domestic seeds. Yeah, that's a lecture for itself. So, like I said, be happy, but be careful. Watch, question everything, and think about your body and your mind and your soul. All of us have three entities. We have physical bodies. When you are young, beautiful, you're getting older, and then you disappear, so that body is for one use only. And then we have our soul, which is almost forever. Almost, because it started, it does have its origin, it does have its end. But in the meantime, we are going through many lives. So our soul is getting a lot of experiences. And we have the third part, the tiniest, the spirit, which is our direct connection with the cosmic creator. So the spirit is hidden in the soul, and the soul is close to our heart. So when we meditate, when we close our eyes, when we disconnect from the physical world, when we go deep within, deeper you go, you got the chance to connect with our cosmic, with the God inside us, and then we can get the answers to all our questions. Meditation, very important. Thank you very much.